What happens when the most powerful young star in basketball suddenly disappears? When the body that once made him unstoppable becomes the reason he can't play? This is the story of Zion Williamson, a player who went from being called the next LeBron James to being labeled a disappointment. But what if this isn't the end? What if his story is just beginning? Because sometimes greatness isn't about never falling. It's about rising again. Today on Nylon, we look at Zion Williamson, the resurrection, the comeback story no one expected. Can a fallen star truly rise again? Let's find out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Nylon for more real stories that inspire and remind us what it means to rise again. The fall of a prodigy. There was a time when Zion Williamson was more than just a basketball player. He was hope. A rare mix of power, grace, and energy that made the NBA exciting again. Every dunk shook the court, every game felt like a show. But soon, things changed. Injuries kept coming, and the same body that made him special became his biggest challenge. Fans started to lose faith, wondering if Zion's story was already over. Yet now, against all odds, he's writing a new chapter. A story not about falling, but about rising again. This is Zion Williamson's resurrection. The weight of expectations. When Zion was drafted first overall in 2019, he became the hope of New Orleans. The city had just lost Anthony Davis, and fans needed someone new to believe in. With his big smile, humble attitude, and unbelievable athleticism, Zion felt like the perfect hero. People called him the next LeBron. Some even compared him to Shaq. His debut proved the hype. 17 points in just 3 minutes. But behind all the fame was pressure. Every move he made was judged. Every mistake became news. For a 19-year-old kid, carrying the weight of a city was no easy thing. The body that couldn't keep up. Zion's strength was his greatest gift, but it also became his biggest problem. At 285 pounds, he moved like a guard, but his body paid the price. The pressure on his knees and feet was too much, and one injury led to another. A torn meniscus, then foot and hamstring problems. By 2021, he had missed more games than he played. Fans began calling him injury-prone and saying he needed to lose weight. Social media turned cruel, turning his photos into jokes. The same people who once cheered for him now questioned if Zion could ever be great again. The silence and the storm. During the 2021-22 season, Zion didn't play a single game. He vanished from the spotlight. No interviews, no updates, just silence. The Pelicans stayed hopeful, but fans grew impatient. They wanted to know if he was still hurt or if he even wanted to play for New Orleans. Then a video showed him dunking in practice, looking healthy and strong. Excitement turned to anger when he still didn't return. Rumors grew that he and the team had problems. People questioned his effort and character, not knowing the truth. Behind the silence, Zion was fighting a heavy mental battle. The mental battle. People often talk about Zion's injuries, but forget the emotional pain behind them. Imagine being called a bust before turning 22, or being told you're lazy when you're fighting every day just to get healthy. Zion once said he was in a dark place. He wanted to play, but his body wouldn't let him. For someone who lived through movement and power, sitting still felt like torture. Every step was fear. Every scroll was a joke about his weight. He felt trapped. But in that darkness, Zion found perspective. He realized healing meant rebuilding his body and his mind. The return that never came yet. Before the 2022-23 season, Zion returned looking fit, focused, and ready to silence his critics. He played like his old self again, scoring 26 points per game, flying for dunks, and moving with power and confidence. The Pelicans were winning, and it finally felt like Zion's story was turning around. But then, in January 2023, it happened again. A hamstring injury. The same pain, the same doubts, the same heartbreak. People began to wonder if this was his story. Moments of greatness followed by months of waiting. Even Zion started to doubt, but deep down, he refused to give up. A promise to himself. Before the 2022-23 season, Zion came back looking healthier, stronger, and more focused than ever. He played with power and joy, averaging 26 points a game and reminding everyone why he was once seen as the future of basketball. The Pelicans were winning, and everything finally felt right again. But then, in January 2023, it happened once more. A hamstring injury. The same sadness, the same questions, the same frustration. Fans wondered if Zion was cursed with bad luck. Even he started to doubt himself. But deep inside, he still believed his time would come again. Redemption begins. Then came the 2023-24 season, Zion's true comeback. From the very first game, you could feel something had changed. He wasn't trying to prove people wrong anymore. He played with calm and control, showing patience and maturity. The power was still there, but now it had purpose. He became more than just a highlight player. He became a leader. The Pelicans started winning again, and his connection with Brandon Ingram grew stronger. Most importantly, Zion stayed healthy. Game after game, he was back doing what he loved. This time, it wasn't just about basketball. It was about redemption. Learning from pain. Zion's journey is bigger than basketball. It's a story about falling, learning, and rising again. He showed what it means to keep going, even when the world doubts you. Zion learned that true greatness isn't just about skill, but about patience, focus, and humility. He started opening up about his struggles, admitting that he had made mistakes and hadn't always handled fame the right way. But he also proved that change is always possible. He began to take care of his body and mind first, realizing that real strength starts from within, not from what others expect of you. The rebirth of a star. As the season moved forward, Zion started to look like the player people once believed he could be. He was dominating again, but this time with control and wisdom. He trusted his teammates and played with purpose. His stats were great, but what stood out more was his presence. His energy lifted everyone around him. When he stepped on the court, everything felt different. Zion was no longer just a rising star. He was a symbol of rebuilding after failure. Fans everywhere cheered for him, knowing his pain. They weren't just seeing a comeback. They were witnessing redemption. The critics still talk. Not everyone believes in Zion's comeback. Some still say he won't stay healthy for long. Maybe they're right, but Zion doesn't care anymore. He's focused on what he can control: his effort, his mindset, his discipline. The world can talk all it wants. He'll let his game speak. The new Zion. What makes Zion's comeback special isn't just that he's playing again. It's that he's grown as a person. He's calmer, wiser, and more focused. He no longer plays to prove people wrong, but to enjoy the game. Zion is now a symbol of hope, proof that anyone can rise again. The Pelicans' hope. With Zion healthy, the Pelicans finally have hope again. He brings energy, strength, and heart to the team. Young players follow his lead, and veterans respect his growth. The city that once doubted him now cheers his name. Zion isn't just their star, he's their spirit and their inspiration. Lessons from Zion's journey. Zion Williamson's resurrection teaches us more than just lessons about basketball. It's a story about growth, faith, and the power of second chances. Here's what his journey reminds us of. 1. Failure isn't final. No matter how many times life knocks you down, you can always start again. Zion's story proves that falling doesn't define you. Rising does. 2. Your greatest gift can also be your greatest challenge. Zion's strength and athleticism made him a superstar, but they also caused his injuries. Life often works like that. What makes us special can also test us the most. 3. Pressure can destroy or shape you. Zion turned pressure into motivation. Instead of letting criticism break him, he used it to rebuild himself. 4. Healing takes time. He learned to be patient with his body and his journey. Sometimes slowing down is the only way to move forward. 5. Redemption is real. No matter how bad things get, it's never too late to make a comeback. In sports or in life. From promise to purpose. When Zion first joined the NBA, he was seen as a promise, the next big star who could change everything. But now, he's more than just a talent. He's a fighter with purpose, someone who turned pain into strength. He's showing everyone that real comebacks come from belief, not just skill. Zion's journey reminds young players and fans that success isn't only about stats or trophies, it's about heart. His biggest win isn't on the court, it's within himself. The future awaits. So what's next for Zion Williamson? No one can say for sure. Injuries might come back and the pressure will never fully go away. But Zion has changed. He's not that 19-year-old kid anymore. He's grown, stronger, wiser, and more focused. Now he plays with gratitude, discipline, and love for the game. He's ready to write a new chapter, one built on second chances and belief. And maybe this time, his story will finally have the happy ending it deserves. Final thoughts. Zion Williamson's resurrection isn't about being perfect. It's about never giving up. He faced injuries, doubt, and endless criticism. Yet here he is, standing taller than ever. Every time he steps on the court now, it feels different. There's appreciation in his smile, patience in his game, and peace in his heart. He's not trying to prove he's the next LeBron anymore. He's proving he's Zion. Strong, unique, and unstoppable in his own way. And maybe that's what real greatness looks like. Because the best comeback stories aren't just about winning, they're about finding yourself again. Zion did that. He fell, he struggled, and he rose. So ask yourself, what would happen if you refused to give up, no matter how hard life hit you? What if your lowest point was actually your new beginning? If stories like this inspire you, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Nylon, where we share real stories of pain, strength, and redemption. Because sometimes the biggest victories happen not on the scoreboard, but inside the heart.